Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and this is my weekly reading update for August 25th, 2019. So I had just filmed this update when I realized that the Women in Translation readathon starts today. So I thought I had another day to wrap everything up today, like on Sunday. So my reading's all off. So I'm going to try to go through what my plan is when I get there, and you'll see that I'm kind of confused because I just realized I lost a day. I don't know when I did that. Anyway, so I'm first going to go through what I read, what I completed, and the stuff that I think I'm going to read during the readathon. Sorry, I'm a little giddy because I just can't believe I forgot the readathon, what day it started. For some reason I had this idea was Monday, and it's today. So anyway, and just real quick on the work front, it's all, it's working at this point. I'm just making it work. This week was kind of weird because I did get sick in the middle of the week. So I did not go to work on Wednesday, and Thursday I still felt like crap, but I still went in. I don't know if it was the weather change because it had gotten a little colder and I just felt horrible. And I spent Wednesday on the couch just doing nothing. It was not even a good reading day. Like the first part of the day I didn't even want to read. So, and then when I did, I'll explain. I did try a couple things before I found something that worked, but it was just not my week. Let's just put it that way. I made it through though. And I have only one more week before I have a week of vacation. So if I can just make it through one more week, we'll do it. But it is the readathon, so I'm planning to read a lot. So that's good. So let's talk about the books that I read this week. Starting on Sunday, I usually go to the libraries on Sunday to take back whatever books I've read after I've done this update thing, and then pick up the new books that I've asked for. And yes, I'm using my library quite a bit again, but I am trying to be better about what I actually read and what I just pull to check on. I don't know. But I'm trying to get more graphic novels and things. And this one was just a little extra. And this the Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. And I've just seen people show these books by her. And I just wanted to see what it was like for myself. So I just got this from the library. And it's really, really cute. There's not a whole bunch I can say about it, but the illustrations are just adorable. And of course they're little dragons. So it was cute. I think it was a cute little book, and I enjoyed it for, the little time that it took me to read it. I just think it was fun. That's all I want to say about that. It's really, that was just got from my library, so yeah, that was fun. Then on Sunday, I also read the graphic novel for The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. This was adapted by Peter B. Giles, and the art is by Renee DeLise. So this was fantastic. This was wonderful. I enjoyed this so much. I read the novel back in middle school. It was one of my first fantasy books that I actually picked up that I can remember. But I was a kid. I watched the movie. So I loved don't get that song stuck in your head. The Last Unicorn song. Anyway, I love that movie. And so, the book is just fantastic. As I said, it's a great novel. This graphic novel followed it very faithfully, I believe, as much as you can for a graphic novel. And I, at least from what I remember, it has been years since I read the book, which makes me want to pick it up, but not right now. But I didn't know that there was a graphic novel for this until I saw somebody had it on Instagram on some picture. And I was like, I didn't know that existed. So now I need to get my own copy of this. Because again, I got this from the library, which is great to check it out. And I really, really enjoyed it. So I just got really pretty. Well, as I said, it's a childhood favorite kind of thing. I mean, again, I read it when I was in middle school and watched the movie and stuff when I was younger. I really enjoyed this. And again, I would totally recommend The Last Unicorn to people to read. It's a great fantasy. And it's, again, following the last unicorn as she tries to find more of her kind in her adventures and misadventures. And, so I really enjoyed this. Anyway, can you tell? I really enjoyed that. I did finish off the Queen of Sorcery by David Eddings. This is book 2 in the Belgariad series. I can't remember if I started this before Sunday. Anyway, I know I was reading this on Sunday. I might have picked it up later that day. I can't remember now. Reading a week ago? I don't remember. Anyway, so this is book 2 in the Belgariad. It's a 5-book series, epic fantasy, written in the early 80s. This book was published in 1982. So, I read Pawn of Prophecy earlier this year, reread. These are rereads for me. I've had these books since I was 14. These are some of the first epic fantasies that I read. Not the first, but definitely they were some of the first series I probably finished, because it was all written by the time the first 5 books in the Belgariad, they were all published. My cousin gave them to me when he left college. He left a lot of Stephen King, Dean Koontz, and Brian Lumley as well. But these were the epic fantasy ones he left me. So it was pretty cool. Because he was going to just sell them. And I'm like, no, I'll take them. Blew my mind on all that stuff. Anyway, so I really love this series. I totally recommend this as a gateway into fantasy, because it is light and like candy to me. They're easy reads. They're about just a little over 300 pages each. They're much shorter than most epic fantasies. But what I love about these books is the characters. So we're following Garion, and his family isn't quite... family members are not quite what they seem, and he gets pulled into this search for the orb, which has been stolen, and this relic is very sought after, and because there's a god who wants it, and when he reawakens, he'll probably destroy the world. So it's a struggle against time, but this is so well done, because it's one of the best travel I think, or, you know, I don't know, maybe there's another word for that. Right now I'm not coming up with it, but they travel all through the countries in the in that part of the world. Like, they're great maps and stuff, and they do a lot of traveling, so it's months and months of traveling and trying to get somewhere to get something done for our prophecy, and trying to, as I said, get back the orb. So this is book 2, and it just continues on, and we get Sinedra's now in it, so it just makes it much more fun. So I really, really enjoyed this series. And again, Pawn of Prophecy is the first one I mean, as I said, it's a great starter. And even those who have read other fantasies, I think it's a great series just overall. It's a quick read. These are short books. They're all short. I recommend them just for fun. Like, it's not like they're the best written, because they're not. But the characters are so heartwarming. Like, I just love them. Like, you get to know those characters. They're funny. They joke back and forth, and then there's serious times, but it's like action scenes and races, they're trying to outrace somebody, or they're, and the scenery changes, so the settings are really good. So when I was feeling sick, I was trying to pick up another book, which I'll talk about the other 2 that I attempted but did not read. But I picked up the 3rd book just because I was already in the mood for it. So I just continued on with Magician's Gambit, which I really enjoyed this one as well. Again, this is the middle book, so I have 2 more, and I hope to get them done by the end of the year. I really want to reread the whole series in this year, and then next year I'll do the next 5 books in the Malarian series, because they're a little bit chunkier. But I do want to get to those, so I do want to reread these all. And again, it's been about 9 years since I read these last time from my records, and I read them about every 5 to 10 years. And so I could probably guess how many times I read this, but I think I read them more closer together when I was younger, because again, it was one of the first epic fantasy series that I owned, and I read them several times in high school, and then I know I read them a couple times in college and after I got out of college. So I'm sure we're probably talking close to the 10 mark, but I don't know. I love that series. Anyway, it doesn't matter what other people say, because I know some other people made fun of it, but the point is, it's just a fun series, and I don't take it too seriously. It's just a fun epic fantasy series. I guess that's what I want to say. I just love that series. Anyway, I'm looking forward to rereading the last 2 books. And then yesterday I finished the Let the Great World Spin by Colin McCann. This is my month-long read-along, or buddy read with Joe Smith. We both came to kind of the same conclusion, that this was a solid read, but not great. I think what I had the most trouble with this again, this is a book about 1974 New York when I think it's Philip Petit did a tightrope across the Twin Tower, from one Twin Tower to the other. And so it's a snapshot kind of that time. At least that's how I understood it was going to be. And about the people below who see him doing this. So the stories are that's kind of, okay, so here's part of the problem, is that a lot of this feels like vignettes or stories of different people in different times, and then it kind of moves through time in kind of weird ways, and the narrative keeps changing, first person, third person, present, past, blah, 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 you know. So it's kind of, it jumps around. The chapters are all very different lengths. It just feels kind of mashed together, and there are some some threads through some of the narratives where some of the characters from the first couple chapters, then they kind of go through all the way to the end. But they're not all realistic. I don't know. So, I think it was an interesting read overall. And again, one of those books where I never hated it and never disliked it enough to put it down. I don't know. It was one of those things where I know, because I was reading the buddy read, I did continue on when I was kind of like, I don't know, but I really like this. But it wasn't like, I never got to the point where I wanted to DNF it, I guess. So it's not like it's a bad book. It just, I don't think it accomplished everything it should have. I felt like there was some threads that he just kind of left dangling that I have no idea why he threw them in there. That there's a couple chapters in here I'm like, what was the point of that? And then other ones, I said, it was just, sometimes it was a little too convenient how it kind of connected. But again, it's a novel. Anyway, so I did like it. I didn't love it. But, you know, I don't have any strong hate towards anything in this. I think the writing was fair. He has a tendency to go in little batches of little short sentences or kind of list things, which I know is in a lot of other books, so it was nothing new. He didn't do quite as often as I hear some other books do, but it still was quite a bit. So it would kind of knock you a little bit when you're reading, kind of you're like, oh, a list, or, you know, oh, there's all these little things. But there was one scene earlier in the book where it was so cinematic, like, is that the word did I say? Where I could totally see it. It was like flashing back from what some people were doing and then somebody else was doing. And it was like the best scene of the whole book for me was that, because of the way it was written, with his short sentences back to back. And it was so, like, I could see it in my head. And it was a scene that's very important to the book. So there is some really good writing in here. So as I said, I don't usually tell you guys right off what my rating is, but this is a very solid 3 because it's still enjoyable. I made it through. I think the writing is really well done, but I just feel like it was not put together as tightly as I'd want. And I did read in the back in the reader's guide, there was like an interview with him and another writer. And he does say that he doesn't map out exactly what he's doing in a novel. He just kind of lets it flow. Which, as a writer, that is exactly what I do. I usually know my beginning and my end, and I know a lot of the guideposts or the things I want to get to through the narrative to make my character arcs and everything work. But I am very much a believer of all my threads, at least going. Even if we can't resolve them all, they all make sense. Like, there's a reason that's there. I don't believe that happens in here. And I think that's why it's a 3 for me, because there's just not, those threads some of them are just like dangling there. And I kept thinking something's going to come around to make it kind of make sense. And it didn't happen. So anyway, it was a great experience. Thank you, Joe, so much for reading this with me. I'm hoping we'll do another book real soon. I just, you know, this book was one of those books where I was intrigued about, and I'm glad we read it, because now I can say I've read this, but, you know, I don't know. And I'm not sure I'd read another book by him. I'd have to check out the synopsis of the other books and decide, but it's not that I hated it. As I said, it's a very solid 3. There was a lot of good and a lot of bad. So I kind of rambled about that a little bit. So just to kind of briefly go back a little bit, on Wednesday when I was sick, I had 2 books that I tried to read before I decided to just go back to the epic fantasy Magician's Gambit, because it was just easier for my brain. I did try to read Prudence by Gail Carriger. This is the first book in the Custard Protocol series. The fourth book just came out, so I was trying to reread the book that I had read, which is this one, and continue the series and try to get it done. Well, no. So I wasn't in the mood for steampunk urban fantasy hijinks. I will at some point still pick this up. I'm hoping in September, but we'll see. I mean, it just wasn't the time for it. And again, I love Gail Carriger. She's one of my favorite authors. It was just not the time, and I was feeling sick. So sometimes you just pick up other books. I guess that's what happened. And then I did try to pick up The Door by Magna Szabó. Sorry. And this is translated from the Hungarian by Len Rix. So I did try to read this one as another book for my Women in Translation month, because I was trying to get one in every week. So I didn't quite accomplish that. So this week just didn't happen. I tried to read this. I only read about 10 pages, but I was getting so annoyed. Because this does the thing that I really, really dislike, and that is do the foreshadowing of saying, well, if I'd known, that it was going to go this way, I would have done something differently. Or, but we didn't know that. But, if we'd known, things would go, I don't know. I hate that trope of trying to create suspense by having the narrator, this is a first person past tense, but it's like they're telling the story to somebody and they're saying, well, if we didn't know, if we had known, we wouldn't have done that. And I don't like, that's too distant for me. To me, that drives me out of the story because I feel like they're manipulating me. And I never have liked that trope of trying to make suspense by saying, hey, if we had known, or, throw that little thing at the end of, at end of chapters saying, well, they didn't know that, but if they had done that, it would have changed this for, everything. I hate that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, just tell me the story. So this is about a writer. She and her husband have just moved to a new apartment, and she feels like she can't do everything on her own because she's trying to write full time. So they hire a housekeeper, and her and the housekeeper definitely are different people overall. So the housekeeper is very eccentric. So I still want to read this, and I still hope to get to it at some point. It's probably not going to be this year. I think I'm going to let this sit on my shelf again, and maybe hopefully early next year I'll pick it up again, and I'll just be able to push past the trope that I really find annoying. And if I can get past it, then we'll see. And I hear it's really good. I've had this book on my shelf for I think a year, so I want to read it, but it just didn't work out this time. So I'll work on that. So anyway, as I said, while I was filming I was trying to film this earlier, I realized Women in Translation started today. I thought it was tomorrow. So I'm all kind of a little confused because I have books started that I was hoping to wrap up today and try to do something different on some other things. So I'm trying to rethink this on my feet here. So yesterday I started The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Egawa. This is translated from the Japanese by Stephen Snyder. So I had hoped to finish it or read. I read half of it yesterday. I read 90 pages of 180. So I was planning to just finish this off today, and so then I would have a clean slate going into Monday. Well, now this has become my first book for Women in Translation readathon. So I don't know what this will count towards or anything. It doesn't matter. By this point, I just have a lot of books. So I don't, the challenge is, I just feel sometimes in some readathons, I just like to be able to give kind of the loosest pick of genre or some kind of book, and then I will just go wild and let me pick what I have off my shelf. Sometimes the challenges don't do it for me, and I'm finding that in this one and another one I want to participate in September is kind of how I'm feeling about that. But so this one, I'm just going to read what I want. They're all women in translation. That's the whole point. So anyway, this one is about a housekeeper, another housekeeper, I know. But she and her son are in their relationship with the professor. He's a mathematics professor who was in a car accident, and he only remembers the 80 minutes at a time. So like if you talk to him, you know, at 79 minutes, he still remembers you, but at 81, he might not remember you, you know, if you leave. So, oh, it's so heartbreaking so far of certain things, and it's a very interesting study of these people and their relationship. And there's a lot of math in here because he is a math teacher, so he talks about math a lot. So I think that's kind of interesting, not something I normally read about. So as I said, I used to like math. It wasn't that great. I mean, I had good grades, and that's not what I meant. I just meant I didn't, you know, love it. So it's been interesting. And I really like this, like 10 times more than Hotel Iris. I hated that book. And I'm just my own opinion, but I did not finish it because I got so annoyed with the main character. But this is so much better so far. So I'm really enjoying this. So I'm hoping to finish that today to be my first one done. Yes, I started a little early, but I don't think it matters. It's Women in Translation all month. So I'm going to read that. So a book that I thought I'll probably pick up here and there. I'm not sure if I'm going to or not, but I did start it last night, and that is A Woman in Berlin. This is by Anonymous because they don't know for sure who it is. This was published in the 54 the first time. And it's translated from the German by Philip Boehm. And it's talking about the 2 months after the Red Army came in, invaded Berlin in 1945. So this is talking about all the way the women were treated with the soldiers, and it's not going to go good. And I know that because it's based, you know, it's real. So, because I mean, it was her couple notebooks that she wrote during that time. And so it's like diary entry kind of thing. And she was a journalist, so whoever this was. So anyway, I've seen this on several channels over the years, and I got a copy last year, and I just didn't get to it during Nonfiction November, or else I bought it during November. I can't remember. So anyway, I figured this is translated from the German, so I thought, hey, I will read this during Women in Translation readathon. So I'm going to try to read a little bit every night. We'll see. I probably won't finish it within the week because I'm going to try to read some of the other books. But I'm going to try to every once in a while pick up, maybe in between books, read a little bit, and then just make some progress. I just needed some nonfiction. I found that I've neglected a lot of my nonfiction the last couple months and I just feel like I should be reading more. So that's that. And then so then let's talk about what I'm going to read for the readathon after that. So after I finish the housekeeper and the professor, I have quite a few books. I have 6 of them here that are ones that I think one of these will pick up. I'm probably going to start with Alberta and Jacob by Cora Sandell. This is from the Norwegian translated by Elizabeth Rocan. So I kind of want to read that one. I have Tokyo Ueno Station by Yu Miri, translated by Morgan Giles from the Japanese. Yes, I know, Japanese, Norwegian, all over the place. Anyway, so I am trying to get some other ones. This is the Korean-Japanese experience, I believe. This is Soviet Milk by Nora Istensa. I think is that how you say it? Sorry. This is translated from the Latvian by Marguerite Galetis. So that one's more about a doctor who then, because of Soviet rule, loses her profession, and then I think some other stuff, and then maybe even her daughter at some point due to the state. I'm not sure. And then I'd also like to pick up Drive Your Bones Over the... Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokar... Oh, I can't remember the last part. Karzuk? I can't remember. Sorry, Maria. I did try to remember. My brain forgot the last part. This is, I think she's Polish. Oh. Yes, so this is translated from the Polish by Antonia Lloyd-Jones. So this is like kind of like a weird mystery kind of thing where a kind of eccentric woman loses her dogs, and then other people some hunters turn up dead, and it's kind of a mystery of that. I don't know, but I've heard a lot of good things about that, so I'd like to read that. And then a couple extra ones just in case. I'm not going to get to these, but I just got Purged by Sophie Okasani. I don't know how you say that. This was, I think, is Finnish, and it is translated by Lola Rogers. And this has to do with two women in the Estonian forest. And they're hiding from something. I'm not sure. But I hear good things about this, and I've been wanting to read this for quite a while. And then, just in case, if I just need something short, I have another Japanese novel. I have many of these. Many Japanese novels. This is Spring Garden by Tomoya Moka Saki. And this is translated again from Japanese by Polly Barton. And this has to do with a man who's living in a building that's been condemned, or they want to tear it down, but he's still living there, and his upstairs neighbor, I think. And they have some fascination with a house nearby that has a sky blue door, I believe. I don't know, but it's a quick read, so we'll see. And then just, that's like way too much. I'm probably never going to read all those, but I also have for my audiobook, I'm going to try to read the first book in the Kristen Lavransdatter trilogy by Sigrid Undstedt. This is translated from the Norwegian by Tina Nonali. The Wreath is the first section. It's about 290 pages in this bind up. But I got the audiobook. So I'm hoping to listen to the audiobook of that to get through this, because I got through 78 pages of it. And again, this follows Kristen's life from her childhood to her old age in this whole trilogy. So I want to read the first part, which is her childhood and her young adult years. And I'm going to listen to it on audio, because I was having trouble reading it out of here. I just got tired. So I'm going to reread the 78 pages, on audio, hopefully, and get through and finish it. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure. So that is all the books I want to read. That's all the books that I've read and all the books that I've tried and didn't read. And, yeah, I had this all filmed when I realized what day the readathon starts. So are you guys doing Women in Translation readathon? Have you guys been doing it all month? Again, I only got 2 books finished before the readathon, but I'm going to try to knock out as many as I can this week. We'll see what happens. As I said, I'm way ambitious. I mean, I'm not going to get to all these books, but I'm going to make an attempt to at least get through half of them. That would be awesome. And then, as I said, like, after I've chosen these, like I don't care much about the challenges anymore. I'm reading Women in Translation. So I'm kind of thinking about doing the same thing for Space Opera September, which is put on by Thomas at SF 180. And I have all this space opera novels that are on my shelf, and I'm kind of like, the prompts just don't ring for me. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's not what I want to read. So I think I'm just going to read the ones I want. So I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Do you think I should go rogue? I think I'm going to go rogue. I'm pretty sure. I'm just going to grab what I can. And I'll probably read some other stuff. I haven't figured out my TBR completely for September yet, because I want to get through more of this week before I get to that point. But I figure there's going to be a lot of sci-fi on my TBR. So hopefully that'll be good. We'll see. Anyway, I think that's it. What are you guys reading? Are you guys doing Women in Translation all month, or have you been doing it just for this week? Do you have any good recommendations? Any of these books you saw that was on my TBR or these ones that I think I'm going to read this week? Which ones I should pick up faster, sooner rather than later? Which ones I should really push up? Again, there's only so much time, and I've already started this. I can't believe I had the date wrong. Oh well. So anyway, let me know down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.